在 Tiburon 的旁边是 Belvedere 这个以富裕著称的小镇。欢迎收看《湾区走走》，我是郑佳瑜。我们今天来到了 Belvedere 这个地方，在这一片海景豪宅当中呢，有一个非常特别的历史建物，叫做 China Cabin。一起进去看看。紧邻着 Tiburon 的 Belvedere 地区有许多面海豪宅，在 Beach Road 上有座全白色的地标性建筑，叫做 China Cabin。这座小白屋一开始并不是一间房子，也不是在此地建造，它是1866年年底启用的侧轮蒸汽船 PS China 中国号上的社交沙龙，也就是交誼厅。
Along with its three sister ships, there were two named for the Far East, the China and Japan, and two named for the United States, the America and the Great Republic. Trip nonstop from San Francisco to Yokohama in 23 days. First voyage was in 1869, and when you think about that, you couldn't get across the United States in 23 days. But then when the railroads came, of course, you could. So it was really remarkable for its time on making these voyages.
虽然名为中国号，但船只停香港与日本横滨，每次从远东地区返美都会带来上千名华裔工作人员。
When the ship was fully loaded and coming back from Hong Kong, it carried up to 1,000 Chinese workers each trip. So had a crew of 125, which also were mostly Chinese. The captains of these ships, these four ships, were all United States Civil War Navy admirals and captains. But the crew were mostly Chinese.
中国号在完成30趟远东旅程后停驶，1886年被带到 Tiburon 进行销毁。所幸船上美丽的社交沙龙，也就是交谊厅，被完整的移除并运到岸边的撑柱上。在之后的90年，成为被秀丽海滨美景围绕的假日住宅。当地居民也为这间白屋取了个新名字 China Cabin 中国小屋。
A retired sea captain living in Belvedere, California, came aboard and he said, "You can't burn this." So he bought it. And he put it here on the boulevard out in front. This became the living room, and here are pictures of this cabin as a living room. When the last family left, the Zelinsky family in Tiburon, they were well known because they were big property owners here. The city of Belvedere became the owner of this ship. And they said to us, the Historical Society, "We will give you this room for $1 if you promise to move it and restore it," and we said yes.
1970年代，土地公司将 China Cabin 捐给了 Belvedere 市政府，市政府又交给 Tiburon 历史地标协会进行修复。经过8年时间，花费60万美金 ，China Cabin 于1986年重新与世人见面。
So it was finished in 1986, open to the public, and it is now open to the public every Saturday and Sunday from April through October.
如今 China Cabin 以其坐落于山海之间的绝佳环境、华丽的维多利亚式装潢风格，以及超过1个半世纪的岁月风霜，成为众多公开或私人的聚会场所，重拾那些年担任船上联谊社交空间的任务。
Memorials, music concerts, Rotary meetings. The City Hall from Belvedere has their staff meetings here.
So people can rent this place.
A lot of events. New Year's Eve, it's a big party. We should have Chinese New Year's here. We should have.
China Cabin 在地方人士的悉心维护之下保存完好，并且开放给公众使用。你可以在周末他们有开放的时间来这里参观，或者是把这里租下来办宴会或是婚礼，面对着无敌海景，品味历史的风华。谢谢您收看《湾区走走》，更多内容请上 KTSF 网站。
We had fresh food, beef, pork, oxen, and the ship carried live animals, so there was fresh food all the time. And that's always an interesting thing to people, that this ship at sea for 23 days had live animals.
Right.
So it's amazing.
They have cows on the boat? They do?
Sheep, cows, chickens.
Wow.
Sure. So they could have breakfast, eggs, bacon. So it's an interesting book that was written for us by a retired doctor here in Tiburon. And it is full of facts, quotes in the back by passengers that talk about their view of the Chinese workers. And they say, what they did with their spare time is they gambled all the time. As you look at the fittings on everything in the doors and even the overhead. This is all covered with 22-karat gold leaf. And when the young people come in, it's the first question they ask, is this real gold? And I say, yes, of course it is. We have another picture on the other side of the man putting this gold leaf on. It took us a long time to do this. We had one passenger, we know his name, Ping, A-H-P-I-N-G, came out of the back of the ship one night, ran forward 10 o'clock at night in a cold ocean and jumped off the ship. The ship saw him. The captain immediately stopped the ship and circled for about an hour. They didn't find him and they steamed on. But next morning, when the captain was doing his inspection of the ship, they found him. The paddle had picked him up. And where the paddle comes through the hull, it had dumped his body in the ship, but he was still alive. I mean, think of the luck that that man had, that the paddle would pick him up and deposit his body back at the port.
Right, didn't put it back in the ocean again.
Well, it's a highlight of the tour.
Yeah.